120 seconds. 110 seconds. 100 seconds. 90 seconds. 80 seconds. 70 seconds. 60 seconds. 50 seconds. 40 seconds. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. 10 seconds.
'Hi,
my name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
It's morning talk, my friends. It's time to get our talk on. With the champions of talk, we are here broadcasting live. It's a Wednesday, if you're watching us live, Wednesday morning. In Studio 1A with me, none other than the one and only Kasike.
Morning, Stan. Good morning.
Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Everything is really good, man. Everything's good, man.
Good weekend?
Yes, good weekend. I spent it at the club, played some really good chess. People are coming by, more often now, and I feel good about that.
That's good. Championship type chess. Do you guys do the whole clock and everything?
Yeah, some people actually prefer to play with the clock. So we do have clocks available, and a lot of the guys that come by, they just want to come and play casual chess. But I have to take a moment, man, and self-promote. This Friday we're having a national master, Jeffrey Torres from he lives in Enfield now, and then we have Michael Owakwe, a young Nigerian brother who's about 1900, making him a Class A player. They're gonna come by and kind of play with people and give instruction and kind of mix it up. So, everyone is welcome, but they'll be there this Friday at 6 p.m.
So, chess is like, people get into chess like folk get into the basketball and any other sport, but I wouldn't say chess is a sport. Is it considered a sport?
It is, and it's an Olympic sport now. It's considered an Olympic sport. Yeah. Well, you
use your mind.
Exactly.
Your mind.
A muscle.
Your mind muscle.
Your mind is a muscle.
Brain. If you don't exercise it, it goes soft.
That's what happens to a lot of us, Dan. We go soft. Yeah. But yeah, it's a sport, and it's really wonderful because studies have shown that it helps students in school do better because it teaches them to problem solve. So chess is like a series of problems that you get into during the game that you have to figure out. So if you take that same attitude and that same mentality and apply it to life, whenever you have a situation, you just consider it like a little challenge that you have to figure out. Instead of it using words like problems or whatever, you just consider it like a small challenge, and it helps you, process stuff better in a healthier and a more positive way.
So then, the old rule or adage of the bigger the problem, the bigger the reward when it's solved.
Absolutely, and it can be very gratifying on the chessboard and in life when you have situations that at one point or another seem unsurmountable, and then you kind of climb your way out of that, and you come out on top. So it's very rewarding, very healthy.
All right. So of course the chess pieces can only move certain ways. I guess you have to master how the pieces move.
Yes, and actually, Stan, you can probably learn that in 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, really?
How the pieces move, yes. But to become, competent and to become, good at playing chess, it takes quite a bit of practice because you got to remember each side has 16 pieces, 8 pawns, and then 2 rooks, 2 knights, 2 bishops, and a king and a queen. And you have to learn to use these pieces in a combination to solve whatever challenge arises on the chessboard.
So just like life's challenges, so some of these pieces you may have to sacrifice, like you have to make sacrifices in life.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things that you learn with chess is that there's an end game in everything, and you can with careful planning you can predict the outcome of the end game.
So how much of this is, now you say predict outcome and planning, so end game means you're thinking a little bit ahead. How much of chess is thinking ahead of your opponent, and how much of chess is understanding how your opponent thinks?
I think that acquiring both of those abilities can be extremely helpful for a chess player. To understand what your plan is, but to also understand what your opponent's plan is and how you're going to combat that plan, and understanding how your opponent is attempting to combat your plan are all fascinating scenarios, Stan.
Very interesting. I've seen a couple movies where there's, the chess master is like the star of the program, and the mathematical mind and possible moves that are left on the board leave you with what to do with this, then that. And you have to think of all of this stuff in very short order. You talked about the clock. What is the time?
Well, there's the clock can be used in several different ways. And in a traditional sense, a clock can be used, for example, you can have a setting where you have to make, so many moves in 40 minutes. And then after that, you can add additional time. Or the game is 2 hours long. At the end of 2 hours, whoever is ahead wins. But we also have something called speed chess, and that's a 5-minute chess. It can be 1 minute, and in that chess you don't have to call check. If you attack your opponent's king and he doesn't see it, and he makes another move. On your next move, you can actually kill it. Where in regular chess, that would be an illegal move. If you put your opponent's king in chess, he either has to interpose or put a piece in between the attacking piece and your king, or capture that piece, or move the king. So, there's some things that you have to learn to be proficient. I just want our audience to know also that beginning in May, the Taino Chess Club will be offering rated and unrated tournaments, and all are welcome.
So a rated tournament means does it mean you have to have a certain level to play, or by playing you can attain a certain level or a certain rating?
Well, but it's both of those things, Dan, because a rated tournament means that you are a member of the United States Chess Federation, and then you can compete in tournaments that are rated, where if you win, you have the possibility of your rating going up, but if you lose, then your rating will also go down.
Oh, okay.
And then in an unrated tournament, then anyone can play. Anyone who knows chess or is interested in playing can play. There's no rating, but there could be rated players and unrated players. It's more like a tournament with people who enjoy chess, and haven't gone through the formality of joining the United States Chess Federation, but they still enjoy chess. That's why we offer that. There's a lot of people in our community that enjoy chess, and there's a misconception that a lot of black and brown folk learned chess while they were in jail, and that's another false narrative that we have put a stop to. A lot of us learned chess in school, at the park and rec, from our grandparents, from our uncles, So, and there's a large population of black and brown folk that play chess. So we just want to offer a space where they can come in and play in a safe environment with incredible competition, because we have players of all levels that come by every day, every single day. So we're open from 12 to 8. We're at 1020 Farmington Avenue in Berlin, and all are welcome.
All right. One of our viewers, Bill Costin, says his chess club, Ebony Chess Society, had 129 black chess members from Hartford back in the late 1970s.
Bill, that's outstanding. And I remember hearing about that, and that's history. And once again, it shows that, black and brown folk enjoy chess at a very high level.
And he says we had 30 women. 30.
I worked in the school system between Hartford and New Britain for 25 years. And it was incredible how many kids I taught chess. And, 15, 20 years later, when I run into them, they're like, Mr. Delgado, I'm ready for you now. So it's wonderful. And I encourage them to teach their kids, especially girls, because chess is one of the few environments where masculinity is not going to necessarily be, carry you over successfully against a girl. You have all the muscles in the world, but if that young lady or that woman is ready, prepared and has been instructed, then, she will beat you. So women can create an environment of equality playing chess. And I really enjoy that. I like that idea. That they can be a tiny little, 100-pound girl can beat a huge, 250-pound NFL, linebacker in a chess game, because that is where equality's at the chessboard.
I would imagine the same could be said for age. So you could have a kid, quote unquote, a young person, wipe out some older guy who thinks he's all that.
Well, that happened to me, Stan. In Manchester, I was playing in a tournament, and I was playing a 9-year-old, and this kid jumped on me from the beginning. Man, I had my hands full, but he made a mistake, and I was able to overcome. So I was happy and sort of relieved that a 9-year-old didn't beat me. Right. The next game, I'm playing an 8-year-old. This kid I think he beat me up before the game started, man. I had no chance with him. Clean, he beat me, man. And at the end of the game, I had to look at him in the face and stick my hand out and say, "Nice game, young man." And it was so funny because I can see that, he had completely shattered whatever toxic masculinity I had. It was incredible. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. The idea that a 9-year-old was already, an 8-year-old was already so well prepared, and so we have a lot of, most of my inquiries have been by parents wanting lessons for their kids. And so we're looking at that now. Of how to set something up where we can have some classes going on. But it's really a place where, people can come in and play chess and conversate, and have a good time. We're usually there till 8, Stan, but this week there's been already a couple of 11 o'clock nights, including last night. We were there till about 11 playing. There's always about 4 or 5 guys that hang late, just want to play chess, man. So, like I keep saying, all are welcome.
All right. I got this message here from one of our viewers. Sent this in via.
Oh, yes.
Fire Chief. New England's first black fire chief. The pinning ceremony of New England's first black fire chief, Shelley L. Carter, will be held in the north lobby of the state capitol at 10 a.m. today, Wednesday, March the 29th. And that is State Capitol Building. Kelly Charter currently commands the Department of Developmental Services, Fire and Emergency Services at the Southbury Training Program.
That's beautiful, Stan, and I just want to say, I want to salute this sister, and I want to thank her for continuing to knock down doors, man. Opening spaces where we can continue to grow and learn and operate in a safe fashion away from all that bigotry and hatred, man. Thank you, sister.
There she is.
Yes.
Dynamic individual.
Absolutely, man, and a leader. A leader.
So once again, 10 a.m. this morning, if you're watching us live, you've got plenty of time to get ready, go on up there, show your support. It's a beautiful day out.
And I'm sure there's probably going to be online somewhere too.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's a big deal. They should record that.
Absolutely. This is
and if nobody thought about it, you heard it right here. We're recommending that this event be recorded because it's historical. Absolutely, man. So, Stan, let's jump right in, man, because I had some stuff this morning I was thinking about. I was sitting out in front of, meditating in front of your place, getting ready to come in. And I'm saying, what is the legacy, man, that Luke Bornin is leaving?
What is Luke's legacy?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, Stan. What are some of your thoughts, man?
Luke's legacy, he just gave his little State of the City message, which was, let's see, I guess that was Monday night? Today's Wednesday? Yeah, it wasn't yesterday. So Monday night he gave State of the Message, State of the Union.
Did he talk about all the wonderful things he's allegedly done?
I'm sure he did not. I didn't.
Stan!
Well, most people don't. But, I don't know.
Oh, boy. You went right in against our mayor.
I didn't. I'm not going in against him. You asked a question. I answered the question. I'm sure he didn't.
That's too funny. He didn't talk about all the wonderful things he did, no?
I thought you. I'm sorry. I misunderstood you.
Stan.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood the question.
Yeah,
Never
man,
underestimate the
that
power
was
of a
mad
of a
funny.
good night's sleep.
Listen, that was mad funny how you responded. I'm
Oh,
telling
okay.
you,
No,
man.
I'm thinking you said, did he talk about all of the wonderful things that he didn't do?
No, that he did.
Oh, did? Yes.
There it is, Stan.
There it is.
All right, man.
Yeah. He did indeed do that. I don't know. It remains to be seen what his legacy is.
Yeah, you know what? I sense some things are already in place, man. Some things can be refuted.
Well,
I like to mention a few, if I may.
yeah.
Well, I think that part of his legacy is that he's leaving us with an incompetent police chief, right?
Well, that remains to be seen. I don't know if maybe he'll resign before then. You said he was going to resign.
Well, he's got no protection now.
Well,
So here's what we have to look at.
he got
This is-
protection until the end of the year.
Well, here's the thing we got, and we have to mention this, right? Because this is what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Thody will probably leave and get a job as a policeman somewhere else with the new people that hired him fully understanding that he was committed crimes as police chief here in Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about, I just want to mention that. Because, see, this is how we get these
Right. Then
criminal-
you don't think
It's like the priest. Remember how they used to move the priest from one parish to another?
the pedophile priest.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what they do with these criminal cops. They go from one department to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Because look at one of the things that they talked about in the, what's his name? Tyree Burton, the last brother that they killed that we know of. Remember the 4 cops?
Over by the highway.
Yes.
Right. On the on-ramp
Yeah.
to I-84.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4 dudes that crippled that other brother. Remember? They put him in the thing, and then he.
Drove him around.
Yeah.
That was in Hartford?
No, that was in New Haven.
Oh,
That's
okay,
the big
okay.
case, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
This is my point right here.
Yeah.
You know what they want to do first?
What's that?
They want to fire them. But they're not talking about criminal charges.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Okay.
Right.
You threw me off with the
No.
because
I'm
I'm
just trying to
thinking.
make
I'm thinking now.
it
You're
all
talking
ties
about
in.
cops in general, not necessarily
Yeah.
Jason.
But he'll end up getting a job somewhere else, and that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he'll go somewhere else and do some other crazy stuff.
Well, unfortunately, that happens all the time.
Well, that's why we
with
have
not
to keep
only cops,
mentioning
but
that.
just anyone doing bad that's in some sort of government bubble gets moved on.
It's almost like a prerequisite for you to get moved up. You have to commit some crimes and get away from them. I mean, look at what's his name? Look at Jim Ravella.
Mm-hmm.
He's the commissioner of the public safety, right? That's his title
for Connecticut. Yep.
But we had a brother on our show that said that Jim Ravella let a lot of the cops that are in trouble now and have been for a long time, he gave them passes over and over and even promoted some of them instead of investigating. And what happened to him? He went from the chief of Hartford, and what did he do? Those, to me, as a citizen, those are crimes, right? They're not going to characterize that as crimes, but I will. And what happened to him? He got promoted. Well, so that's the first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Bornin is leaving us an incompetent chief that we all know committed crimes and got away with them, right?
As you suggest, that would be the case.
Yeah. And then he's leaving us a superintendent that has taken the district as far as she can take it. And every day that she's here, whatever good that she did, she's erasing. She's got to go.
Well,
her time is done.
Well. I don't know. You can blame that on Bornin.
Well, he's leaving her.
Well, he's leaving everybody.
Well, he could have.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. But I mean, he
brother,
didn't bring her in. He brought Jason in.
Brother, he took her because I was one of the people that recommended her.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm saying, listen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this is what he's leaving us because we've asked the community, the African American Alliance, other people have asked him to remove Jason.
Yes.
And he refused.
Yes.
Right.
No, that is undeniable.
Right. I'm not.
Undeniable.
Listen, brother.
Right.
If I say anything that's not true, either you or what's his face, bro, Lying Luke, can challenge it.
Right.
They can refute it, but you have to refute it with facts. Right? He's leaving us a superintendent. This is his way of, giving us the finger, right? Or waving us off by leaving these people in place. Because he knows that this is his way of saying, hey, I'm going to do what I want. You know what I'm saying? And I'm on the way out, and I'm leaving him, and there's nothing you can do.
Well, I
think part of the forum that these majoral forums that we're having is to ask these candidates straight up. What is your plan with these people, man? What do you plan to do with these people? You've already, it's already been evident that they're incompetent and they are they no longer have value. What are we going to do about that?
Well, I think those are very fair questions to be asked of all of the candidates. What is your plan for X? Well, what is your plan for Y?
Well, let me ask you right now. What is your plan for those?
You don't want to save my answers until the debate?
No, because I want you to put pressure on these other candidates. Because I can say, hey,
that is fair. I have a standing.
Brother McCauley, who's also a candidate, said that he's ready to do this. How you feel about that, brother or sister?
Well, I have a standing rule. I've had it for 40 years. While I may not bring up a subject, I will answer any question posed to me, or say that that's none of your business. But those questions don't qualify for the none of your business.
Not as a public servant.
Right. Well, so what is your direct question?
What do you plan to do with the superintendent and the police chief, and then, irregardless of what the city policy states, because a lot of these policies, they don't follow them. Jason Thody's supposed to live in Hartford, and so isn't Leslie, and they don't live in Hartford.
All right, so
and a lot of other people. So what do you? And then what would
I was
be the
unaware that she
process
didn't
of
live.
getting
I was
a new
unaware
one?
that she didn't live in Hartford. I'm under the impression her house is physically in the city.
When did that happen?
I am.
Because that was supposed to happen. Remember, but they live somewhere else. Her and her husband. I think he's like some type of corrections employee.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they live in Hartford. I was unaware of that.
I was under the impression that they lived in Hartford, but the answer to these questions and much more when we return. I will not be saved by the commercial. Stick and stay. We'll be right back.
Every bad political decision is made by a politician elected to office. So if you think your vote doesn't matter, just remember this. There are people sitting with politicians in a back room making deals about your future, making policies about your children, making decisions about your neighborhood. To them, you are just a vote. You are not their cause. You are just a vote. Elections have consequences, and if you don't vote, you are actually voting to keep these people in power to work against you. Now more than ever, you need to make your vote count. It's time to clear the air and vote for a mayor that is unbought, unbossed, trusted, and accountable to you, the constituent. My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor of the city of Hartford. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience and vote for the name you trust and know. Vote J. Stan McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Oh, yes. It's Morning Talk every morning, 8 o'clock. Tune in. Check us out. Call if you, well, it's a little difficult to call, but you can call if you know the number. And particularly if you are one of our folks that been pre-screened for calls, which means we have your number in the queue. But we have a question on the floor. And so we're gonna jump right back into the conversation. Kasike.
Yes, Stan. My question is, as a mayoral candidate, what do you propose to do with the police chief and the superintendent?
All right. Well, we'll take them in that order. The chief, I've already publicly called for the resignation of Jason Thody. Short of the resignation, then he be terminated. That's on the record.
Okay.
There's videotape of that, and the rationale for it. Fox 61 did like a 19-minute coverage of that request. I think it's on the website for the Greater Hartford African American Alliance, and for stated reasons. But he, of course, is under the direct purview of the mayor. So it's a lot easier to remove him. The superintendent, on the other hand, is not necessarily a challenge, but she has a contract. It's 3 years. They just extended her contract to the degree that one of the board members made a statement that even though her constituents were opposed to extending the superintendent's contract 1 year, she was going to do it anyway. She's an elected member of the board. Yahara Escobar, because I know you like people to name names.
Colonization is real. Can we say that?
Yeah. So, I have heard from a lot of people, and it would seem that the superintendent's confidence has declined, or confidence in her has declined from those very people who have been big champions of her. So,
and it's not personal.
Right.
It's not personal. It's a decision, and I think that we're in a place now where we have to continue to demand more of these public servants in terms of what the community is asking for versus what the corporations are asking for and the big businesses. Those are different things. There's different needs, and I would recommend for the next mayor to continue to use the rubric that I used to explain to superintendents how they need to be viewing themselves in terms of how services are rolled out to the community. So yeah, I recommend that strongly, because it's all community based, community centered, and the outcomes are phenomenal for a better community for all. And remember, our definition of community is not black or white, or black and brown and leaving people out. Community is everything, every living thing that lives within our purview. To make sure that all of that is safe. All the animals, the plants, the earth, anything that's good for the earth is good for humans. And anything that's bad for the earth is bad for humans. So we have to look at all of that in terms of that, because we haven't. And we have to put people in front of money. People have to come first. So that's why we're working with you, Stan, because we feel like you fulfill all of these qualities, in terms of working with the community to help you in your decision making.
Well, I always see myself as a representative of the community. So, as an observer of things and one who reports the things he observes, the community is paramount first and foremost. I think that mayors should represent the constituency. Downtown business is part of that constituency. But the business, if we look at it the way they're allowed to give money, is a singular person. It's not like 3,000 people in the building. It's the business. So they're one person in a community. And the residents most certainly outnumber those businesses. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say that one is business unfriendly, but the greater voice are the people who actually reside in the city. And I think that, political leadership should be more concerned about its actual citizens and residents than other interests that serve themselves. Businesses in the enterprise of making a profit. And a lot of times that profit comes from the very community that's elected you to look out for their best interests. So sometimes I think there's a conflict when political leadership seeks to do more for profit-making entities, even if it's a non-profit entity, like the hospitals, who make enormous profit. They just don't pay tax on it. They plow it back into people's salaries and all kinds of other things. Who knows? And then they co-own other businesses like ambulance services and other things. And so, their business model is not necessarily for profit, but they have plenty of money. And a lot of these entities impose their will on the residents. And that's a long way of coming back to your part 2 of your original question about the superintendent. She, or the office of the superintendent, currently occupied by Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez, is she's got a contract. So if you were to terminate her, you'd have to buy out that contract. And so, the community has to ask itself, is it worth buying out the superintendent and getting a new superintendent and perhaps destabilizing what's there, if what's there is right and working? So I think that needs to be given a little bit more thought. Without the thought, my first inclination would be to make sure that the contract is not renewed, and perhaps she would get something somewhere else.
Well, here's the thing about that. In terms of destabilizing anything, we know for a fact that what's there is not working. That's already been proven over and over again. So there's not going to be much debate about that at all, right? Studies have shown over and over that they're not working. Our kids are not learning. Our kids are direction followers. And so these corporations, when they pick black and brown people out for excellence, they don't pick you out because you're the smartest and the brightest. That's what they put out, but they're picking you out because you know how to follow directions better than your peers.
So the compliant few get through.
Exactly.
Not necessarily the best, but the compliant.
The best will never get through because the best question that stuff already. They question the process that's in place. You can't come in asking questions because you making me look bad off the bat. Right from the jump, you making me look bad. Why would I hire you? I'm going to hire somebody else that's going to come in and be nice and soft and pliable, very compliant. Follow all my directions, and you'll be great. So we got to get away from that. So the other thing is, right, in terms of the superintendent and any other city employee like that, they have a contract.
Contract the
and
city employees,
they have certain standards that they have to meet. And if those standards are not met, that automatically is considered a breach of contract. And I'm quite sure that we can find a lot of things that she has breached the contract on. I'm positive about that.
Well, that's interesting.
Her and anybody else that works for the city. Because first of all, the residency thing, if you haven't, I don't know if she lives in Hartford, but in the beginning she didn't.
Right, I'm almost positive that she lives in the city.
Well, Jason Thody is not a problem because he, I think all the leadership, all the department heads, you making a lot of money. You're not going to take that money and spend it somewhere else. You're going to spend it in our city, and so that money can recirculate itself amongst the citizens and the businesses. When you take that money out of Hartford, we'll never see it. So we need to, have a, some of those things have to be enforced.
Well, I'm a big fan of residency. My wife and I, in 2019, we went to Springfield and interviewed one of their counselors. And it's something you can actually watch. It's on our network. And Springfield has a residency requirement. Springfield, Massachusetts,
and
not
they're
like
not playing.
Springfield way out.
They're not playing.
And they don't play.
And see, I'm pretty sure. Listen, I'm pretty sure, like you're pretty sure that she lives in Hartford now. I'm pretty sure that in the beginning, when she became superintendent, she didn't.
Right, she had to move.
So here's the other thing. Here's another thing. Another test for the citizens and for the mayoral candidates. Why aren't the mayor's children, the superintendent's children, and all these other educators and department heads, why aren't their children in Hartford public schools?
Oh, I think the answer to that is clear.
No, because you talked about that we have to look to see that with the standards, blah, 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 right? No. No. We know why they're not there.
Right.
Because our schools are not good enough for them, for their children.
Right.
But they're good enough for ours.
Well, I know you're going with that.
No, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going where it's at.
I would contend if they're not good enough for their kids, they're not good enough for ours. That's the truth.
Well, Stan, that's my whole point.
Right.
That's the whole point.
But the way for they believe that, them believing that is different than it being so. Well, if they're not good enough, then they're not good enough.
It doesn't matter what they believe. This is a case that believe is not. It doesn't come into play.
But those are the words you use.
Right, but listen to me. What comes into play is action. So they can tell you that that's not true. I don't believe that's true, blah, 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 blah.
But it is true.
But your kids are not going to Hartford Public Schools.
Right.
What do you believe? Do you believe what you hear? Or do you believe what you see? Right. That's the question. So we don't have to ask anything about.
But you were saying that was a mayoral. So what is your mayoral link to that issue? You say here's another question for the mayor, for the mayoral candidates.
Why aren't your kids? Why aren't all these educators, the mayor, and all these department heads? Why aren't their kids going to Hartford public schools? You making a lot of money here.
Right.
You're supposed to be promoting our city and everything about our city, which would include, and just let me put this for the ones that don't know, which would include our schools, which would include our government agencies. That means that you would use what we offer as a way of promoting it. I'm the superintendent. My babies go to Hartford Public Schools because I stand behind what I'm selling.
Well, I
Yep.
I understand.
It sounds kind of painful, man.
No, it's not painful. You asking a question.
Yeah.
There's a difference between the question and making a statement.
Yeah.
If you're making a statement, the statement is legitimate. But when you're asking a question,
Yes.
then that gives some room for explanation.
Yeah.
So why are their kids
That's
going
the
to the school is a question that, people can speculate.
Yeah.
But, it's hard to speculate why someone else is making the decisions they make. I would say, if I had to speculate, that they can get a better education for their kids outside of the Hartford Public School System. Hartford Public School System is not known for graduating the best educated kids.
That's awful. But
that needs to change, but I mean that's what it is.
That's awful.
What's awful? That we're not graduating, or that's the answer?
No, it's awful that you said that, because it's true. But I'm saying that's awful, Stan. That our children, we know that our children are not receiving the best education. And then the other question is,
we know that
educators,
for a fact, because if you talk to just the local schools, University of Hartford, even Capital, and Trinity, and Goodwin,
right?
They will tell you that the kids coming to them are woefully unprepared.
Okay.
I mean, those are words I've heard out of the mouths of the school leadership.
Okay.
So that's
so
problematic.
I'm just giving you the reasons why it would be easy to replace the superintendent.
Well, I understand that. The ease of replacing her isn't the issue. The issue is this something that the citizens of Hartford are willing to foot the bill for?
If you presented it correctly, and they can see the benefit of removing someone who is taking us back now, and is whatever gain she made, she's losing every day she's here, right?
Right.
Because her agenda is no longer viable. We need somebody that's going to come in and tell the state, no, we're not going to do that. This is what we're going to teach our kids, and come in prepared to make an argument that, you know, what this superintendent is proposing is being fully supported by the citizens, and it's stuff that our children need to be learning, not this nonsense. Because now what they're doing, Stan, the other thing that they're doing is they're not even teaching content now, or context. Those are two different words, and they're spelled differently, right? But they're both very important, because our children are not learning either one. What they're learning is they're being taught
to pass tests.
To pass tests. And then if you look at the tests, they're absolutely worthless in terms of real life. You know how would you use this information? Absolutely, man. The application is completely wrong. So we need people who can come in and make that argument. And I want to see that African American, and not Latino, African American indigenous, or African indigenous curriculum, or Afrocentric indigenous curriculum, you know, that's going to teach our children, first of all, a little bit about our history every year. As they progress every year, they should learn more new facts, right? But also give them real life skills, you know. And the other thing that they took a lot of stuff away that was very useful. They're dehumanizing our children. They're making them machines. They don't work with their hands. All they do is they teaching them all the Let me tell you, computers and everything is great, but they got to have their place. They can't replace life, and that's what they're trying to do with that.
All right, so back to the question, or the topic at hand in the replacement. So, did you ask a question?
I did.
About the replacement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to know the process.
The process, okay.
The process.
I don't want to get ahead of myself.
No. I want to know the process of how you would go about, as the mayor, how would you go about replacing these folks, and how would you include the community in the process?
Well, that is actually where my mind was as you're talking, because I'm listening to what you're saying, and I value what you're saying. I'm not saying that because you need to hear me say that, because a lot of times people say that because it's a thing that you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because I genuinely.
It's like rote.
Yeah. Oh, that was a great question, and you know, I value your. No, you don't. Don't even say that. So.
Yeah.
No, but I really do. For this reason, you're one constituent. Now, I'm sure there are fans. So when you say, well, what would you do, and how would you include the community? I would absolutely include the community. As it talks about the police department, I will make sure that the community had a very had meaningful input in the selection process. Not the dog and pony where you take the police chief around that you've already selected and sell him to the community, but to make the community an integral part. And of course, you can't listen to 120,000 people. But Hartford actually has leaders from the various communities. And I think their input is vital because at the end of the day, the police department is here to protect and serve the community.
Right.
They're not here to protect and serve the mayor. They're here to protect and serve the community that elected the mayor. So the community should have far more input. And so, based on what the community says from selected candidates, all right, and I believe that the candidates should have some real difference to them. I don't think that they should all be, milk toast, and then you have to select which brand of milk toast you want. It should be some ginger snap, some milk toast, some coconut cookie. So give people real options as to who should best serve them. When it comes to the superintendent, that's a little bit more nuanced because that is not a selection per se of the mayor. That's the Board of Education that does that. But the mayor does get to appoint 5 people. But I would say the same thing.
Well, until we held protests about the former superintendent and demanded the selection of the current superintendent.
And she quit. She wasn't fired.
Well, we forced her out. They can say whatever they want, but
right. Well, the community fired her. The community fired her. I could wrap my head around that, but she wasn't terminated.
Yeah.
So.
But her services were no longer needed here, and she knew that. So anyway, the process have been pretty much, it's whoever the mayor wanted. Nobody ever really made too much fuss about that until Leslie. And the reason that we created that was a political statement, once again, to let the community know that when we decide on something, that's what it's going to be. I showed you all how it's done. We did it. Can't say it's never been done.
Well, that's why I said, when you talk about Luke leaving her for us, that was not his pick. That was not Luke's pick.
But now he also listen. Remember when he hired Rosado and we told him that guy's not the guy, right?
But Rosado quit.
But Rosado, listen, but Luke was smart. At that moment, he thought he was smart. But his plan, he knew it wasn't going to work. And he already had Jason in line. We just didn't see it coming. He knew Rosado wasn't the guy.
The slickness.
I'm going to have to say this on the air. You can find me if you want. But Luke Bornin ain't nothing but a slick-ass cracker. All right? Now, I'm sorry if I offended anybody. But I have to say
I'm
that's
sure
what he
you
is.
offended somebody. But, you don't have to worry about being fired.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, we have to use those terms sometimes to describe these people, appropriately. So they know that so they understand that I know where you're coming from. Other people may not, but I know where you're coming from. So now he understands clearly. Look, he put a Rosado in he created the ambience, right? That he was working with the Spanish-speaking community. But he also knew that when people from the community share their concerns, he knew those concerns were real, and he also knew that Rosado wasn't going to last. Because in the state police, Rosado could do whatever he wanted. He had no eyes on him at all. In the city, we know what you're doing 24/7.
Right.
And we question everything, and he wasn't up for that. So he had himself a yes man, Jason Thody. That was all the plan. That was a beautiful chess move.
To circle back to the beginning of the program, so Rosado became a pawn.
A sacrifice.
Right.
A sacrificial pawn.
There you go.
So he knew.
Sacrifice.
Right. And
or maybe sacrifice the rook
And Rosado didn't know that he was being used because his intentions may have been honorable and noble. But he also was using language that was not his. Because we clearly, when I asked him the question, in the last 20 years, what have you done in the city of Hartford? And he said that he did one toy drive. But that's not Hartford. That's the hospital. It ain't got nothing to do with us.
That's a bad answer.
It was a terrible answer, but
that's a bad answer on a good day. On a bad day, that's a bad answer.
It was a bad answer any day, Stan.
Yeah.
But that was the language that he was given.
Right. Clearly, he doesn't understand the city.
Exactly. So it was. But we have to be smarter, and see. What we have to do is the first, and I'm gonna say it on the air again. The first thing we have to do is get rid of the white man who's behind the Democratic Town Committee. You talk about destabilizing. We have to destabilize them and show them that we don't need a political party to run this city.
Well, in order for that to happen, citizens got to get together and actually come out and vote for someone who is not controlled by the party.
Next mayor, man. You're gonna be the next. I'm predicting it right here, right now, today. You're gonna win this election. You don't really have an opponent. We talked about these guys. Come on, Stan. I'm not trying to badmouth anyone or put anybody down, but the field is just very thin. They don't have any substance. A couple of the people that are running, listen, it's awful for me when I hear that Bruce Rubenstein is behind Eric Coleman's campaign. That's awful for me to hear that. Because there has to be some truth to it. People aren't just saying things. And that's just him. And then we have the other guy, John Fonfera, who in his last majoral, and this is recorded, it's not me, in his last majoral forum, stated that he's been an elected official for the last 36 years. And he's watched his district decline, and he's watched other district decline. And now he's running for mayor. You haven't had the answers in 36 years to your district's issues or to some of the issues in other districts that you've observed. And now you want to run for mayor. Why are you running? What's the idea behind this? How are you gaining? And how are the citizens of this city gaining? If in the last 36 years you haven't done much. These are your words, not mine, brother. And then the other people that are running, I hate to say it, but some of these people are like they've been Luke Bornin's puppets. They're like his rubber stamps. All the people on the council. So you have, I don't know, Stan, if the citizenry of Hartford is finally awakening to what's really going on, then you'll be the next mayor, hands down. It'll be a landslide.
All right. We will absolutely see how that works out. Stick and stay. We'll be right back. Take a short break. It is Morning Talk. Don't go anywhere.
How do you define evil? Is evil the pedophile school administrator or taxation without representation? Is it the gatekeeping community leaders who sell out the very people they were elected to fight for? Or is evil the politician that puts out lies and takes in cash? However you may classify evil, having to choose the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. Nowhere does this rule apply more than during an election for mayor. Choosing a candidate who is the lesser of two evils still leaves you with evil. No wonder so many people don't vote. It's time for the constituents to flip the script and vote for a mayor you can trust. My name is Jason McCauley. I am an independent thinker, and I approve this message. I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, September the 12th, 2023, in the Democratic Party primary election for mayor for the city of Hartford. I, like you, am an independent thinker. So let's sit down and talk about my path to victory and why my 5-point plan for Hartford will work. Stop listening to the uninformed evil interests that tell you I can't win. For more information, visit McCauleyformayor.com. Have the courage to vote your conscience Vote for the name you trust and know. Vote McCauley for mayor.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, we back, Luke. Kasike is on a roll in here.
It's our next mayor, man. Stan
He's on a
McCauley.
roll in here. Now, not that I need to say this, but none of this is planned. And if you watch this program for any length of time, you know that this is as genuine as it gets. I like to surround myself with people who absolutely push back, tell me that I'm full of crap, and out of conscience will resign before they help push someone forward who they disagree with on an issue. And to me, you're only served when you have people who are, one, self-actualized, can think their way out of a paper bag, have opposing points of view, but respect the process of how decisions are made. And that's how you come to really good consensus with groups. Now, when you surround yourself with yes people, you're doomed. It's just a matter of time. It's like a precision air team, like the Thunderbirds or the Blue Angels or the Canadian air team. If the lead plane is off, all the rest of them are off, because they're all following the wingtips of the and there have been instances where the team has flown into the ground because,
Well, brother,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say this to you most of all, but to all our listeners and our viewers, man. In traditional African and indigenous communities, the leader is the person who can communicate with the elders the best. They don't push the elders out. They use them. They use the knowledge and the wisdom that the elders have acquired to help them make decisions with the input of the youth, because youth have great ideas too. So it's someone who can work with diverse parts of the community in terms of age, in terms of race, and in terms of needs. Most of all, the different parts of the community have different needs. So I just love the idea, man, that you're running. I think this is your time. I'm impressed by the people who support you. I know a lot of your supporters are just people like me, just regular folk trying to make a living. So I like that. It feels good to have one of our own running, man. So
let me ask you some questions.
Yes, brother.
Some criticisms that have been lodged towards me. So I'm aware of them.
Put them out here, man. Let's break them down right now.
I want to hear because you are a representative of the community, without doubt. I've seen you in action. So what about the argument Stan can't raise the money?
Well,
I mean, you hear this from inside folk, party folk. Stan can't raise the money.
Well, first of all, I don't know how they, what kind of mathematical equation or what kind of formula they use to determine what you can do and what you can't do. You ran for mayor a couple times before successfully. You didn't have any problems raising the money then. Did something happen that we don't know about that they're only privy to, Stan, or what's going on?
Well, I think they equate money to influence. So if you can get influence, and this I think is important, if you can get the money from high people, in lofty places, then that means you have a connection with them, and thus, if they have influence with you, you have influence with them, and you can cut deals. I don't know if that's to me, I don't know that that's necessarily an inherently good thing. But money is connected to favor.
Well, here's the thing for me, Stan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy you've raised this because, first of all, I don't buy into any philosophy, any thought process.
Mm-hmm.
I understand it, but I don't buy into it. There's European base. So this idea that you need money to win. I ran for city council one year with no money at all, just on name. And I think I lost by like 20 or 30 votes. I have one dime, and I got over 3,000 votes. So you don't need money. And I wasn't working. I didn't do a good job at all, period, of promoting myself. I kind of just went along, you know what I'm saying? And so now, I'm pretty sure, Stan, that you have resources. You have a lot of people who support you, including myself. Your wife, she's right there with you. You know what I'm saying? She's like, that's your biggest fan. So you have name recognition. People respect you because you are a man of respect. You're a family man. Can't nobody say nothing bad about you. So that's the only thing that you need, Stan, to win. You don't need a lot of money. You're going to need a little advertising, but not much because people already know who you are. They just got to know that you're running. You know what I'm saying? People know who you are. They watch your show. They watch this show. They watch all your other shows. So, you have an incredible support base already. So I am going to refute completely and unabashedly the idea that you can't raise the money.
Okay,
That's nonsense.
You kind of answered the second question with the answer to the money, and that is, well, Stan's a nice guy, but I don't think he can get elected. But I think you just kind of.
Nah, they can say that. That's their narrative.
Right,
but
that doesn't make it so.
Well, brother, it's like somebody coming to me and saying, Stan McCauley, he's a thief. He's terrible. Bah, 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 bah. And I'm going to say, hold on, brother. First of all, I'm going to validate what you're saying. But I'm going to tell you this. That may be your experience, but that's certainly not mine. And I want you to know that. Because I'm not going to refute them because maybe that is their experience with you, right? But I got to let them know that's not mine. Wonderful brother, family man, hard worker, honest, has integrity, honorable. You know what I'm saying? That's my experience with Stan. You see the difference? So I'm not gonna refute anybody's experience with you because I don't know it to be true or not true. So I just can't say that didn't happen. Right. But I'm certainly gonna say that's not my experience with that brother. That brother's a king to me. You know what I'm saying? Just like I am, Kasike. So we have to stand on that. And I think people know you, Stan. They know what kind of man you are. They see your wife. They see y'all working together. You put this thing together. You build something in the community for the community. And that says a lot about you. I recognize that, and I have to speak on it.
Okay, what about the other one? Like Stan doesn't have the deep connections. He doesn't have connections with the Lazowskis and
you don't need connections with them. They need to be connected to you. They need to come to you hat in hand. Right? They need to come to you and say, Mr. Mayor, we like an appointment to talk to you about this and send you the information so you can prepare yourself. That nonsense is over. I laugh at how white people do business, and then we have to accept it. You ever notice that when something breaks, they put the cost back on the consumer? Yeah. Why they don't take it out their profits?
The inferior product that they present to you doesn't
but
work.
Why don't they take it out of their
product?
Right. But why don't they fix it out of their profit? And then the government and the law protects. That's thievery to me. That's stealing. Every time, why is the light going up? What did they do? Did something happen that we don't know about? It's the same stuff. So why is it going up? You know what I'm saying? Now they're trying to sell us water. These big companies. So, we have to be careful of the people that we elect because they get in bed with these people. But you're not that type of guy.
Well, maybe that's what they're inferring. Since you won't get in bed with us so we can own you, get a chokehold around your neck.
Well, here's the thing. To me, and I've talked about this. I've chronicled my experiences in New Britain and how to break down a racist system and how to watch their responses. And so I've talked about this a lot on this show, and you should be an expert on this by now. But we talk about access and criminality or criminalization, and that's what they do to you. When they can't buy you, then, Stan's not a nice guy. He's a troublemaker. He's antisocial. He doesn't like white people, or he's only for black people. These are all labels. These are all labels that they use to try to keep us from doing what we do. And so the knowledge of their game is imperative in order for us to be able to combat that, right, effectively, and continue to promote our agenda. So that's what we have to do. But we can't get in business with people like that because we don't win. Anytime that you're putting more costs on the community that you already know can't handle anymore, people are making money off our misery, and we can't allow that. We have to, we have to stop somewhere down the line. We have to say that's enough. We're not going to teach our kids this. And the other thing, while we're at it, we have to talk about how the police is going to conduct their business. We don't have to go by what the government is saying right now. We have an opportunity to create a vision and implement it in a way that the police are going to be able to do their job effectively. They're not going to criminalize citizens. And when they commit a crime, it's going to be called that. It's not going to be called an infraction or they need more training. They're going to be prosecuted immediately, just like when a citizen commits a crime.
Well, if the doctor removes your spleen by accident, he doesn't get to say, well, I need more training on the biology of the human being. I didn't realize that was the spleen.
We need to revise, Stan, not just the police, but all the policies on how to govern people, because we have to apply human and humane laws and processes. Right now, everything that we do in this country, finance, housing, education, employment, is all based on slavery. Think about it. Think about how everything works. And now it's even deeper, because now, like I spoke about it earlier, now they've introduced it to the schools where they are preparing slaves for the workforce. You're not in chains.
Your mind is in chains.
Your mind is in chains. And it's different because when you get away from a lot of these things, you begin to appreciate nature and your life more because you're in touch with it. And so we have to continue to create systems that help us evolve as human beings and that are completely, protecting the planet.
Wow.
I know I can go on for a long time about stuff like that.
That's pretty good. I concur.
That's my life stand. You know what I'm saying? That's how I move. That's how I look at life. And it took me a long time to get here. I'll be 63 in April, and for a lot of years I wasted my life. And I don't want to be around people, anyone.
You're a young man. You're younger than me.
I feel young.
I didn't realize you were younger than me.
I feel young. I feel strong. I feel great physically and emotionally. And right now, my four healths, and I spoke about the four healths, they're magnificent right now. But
what do you think about increasing the police officers to 600?
I don't think we need 600 police officers.
That was unfair of me. But
No. I don't think we need 600 police officers. I think we can probably do it with 300 or 400. But we have to, we have to detail what they're going to do. Now, that doesn't mean that we'll hire other people to do some of the things that the police are doing that they shouldn't be doing, that kind of promotes them criminalizing citizens.
Right.
Well, of any color and of any race, but particularly
black and brown.
Black and brown.
Right. The police have a job, and I think all too often they're trying to get the police to do stuff that's not part of the police, so there's no need for police.
And they give them a lot of leeway on stuff that promotes their making them criminals. You can commit a crime and you can lie in order for you to arrest me for committing a crime. What is that?
Well, if you have an engaged public safety committee with your city council to help set those policies, if you have engaged city council people who, continually, on a regular basis, quarterly, call the department heads, not just police, but all of them, to do a fiscal strength analysis of your budget. Where are you in your place? You can ask those kinds of questions. Down to how many bullets did you have enough money for bullets? How many bullets were purchased? You can ask those questions and find out how things are going because you're funding.
But you can ask those questions, but you can also tell them how many bullets they can buy. You can tell them what kind of guns you can buy.
That is true.
You tell them. You don't let them tell you nothing. Everything that they do has to be approved, and that's not the case.
Well, see,
but let's go back to Luke's legacy for a minute.
Luke's legacy, yes.
So here's another piece that we have to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
He took down an extremely strong police review board headed by Rick Torres. He took it apart because Rick and the people that he had were forcing accountability on the mayor and on the chief. So they took it down. They put a bunch of yes people on there, and you've seen what happened to the new position that they created. The guy quit because the cops accused him of being unfair. You can't have nobody that's soft up there. You know what I'm saying? You got to have somebody up there that's going to tell them cops, listen, watch how you talk to me, because you're a police officer, and there's certain guidelines that you have to observe. Otherwise, we're going to go after your job. Right to their face in front of all of them. Be careful how you talk to me because I'm conducting business. And anything that you do that's out of line, I'm going right for your badge. That's how you put them in place.
Well, they are employees.
Yeah, and you put them in place the same way white people have taught us to put each other in place. How do you put your employees in place? You threaten them with their job. And they get in line. They either get in line or they quit or you have to fire them because they refuse to get in line, right? Those are tactics that are all based on violence. You know what I'm saying? We are asking a lot of our employees, whether they are teachers, whether they are sanitation workers, whether they are police officers, whether they are firemen and women. We are asking them to do things that are out of their purview, that are out of their area of expertise. So we put them in positions where they hurt people. We put them in positions where the potential for them to be hurt is greater. The policies that are in place for everything that we do have to be revised by people who understand that the way that we have been doing things is completely wrong. And we need more humane policies. I think it was you, Stan, who mentioned it on this program. We make cities for cars. Think about that.
Yeah, right.
We need to make cities for people, not cars.
Well, just look at the 900. They're building a carport, a garage for the Connecticut Children's Medical Center, which does great work. Helps save children's lives, but that's nothing to do with a 900 car garage.
Well, think about it.
They're going to just impose on. So the car comes more important than people.
You listen. I'm gonna say this on the show. People may wait for me outside. Black man that I work with, and I said this on the show before, told me, Mr. Delgado, you can kill a white man's family, his kids, his dog, and he'll forgive you. You mess with their money, they gonna come and kill you, your kids. They'll burn your house down. They'll make sure that you understand that you do not mess with my money. And the reason that I say that is because this 900 car garage is about money. Okay, there's gonna be money. There's gonna be money for the people who designed the project.
Mm-hmm.
Let's break this down as best as I can.
Yeah.
There's going to be money.
This is important because when people see all of the construction that's going on, it's less about the quote-unquote end product. The end product is a justification to get the money to spend and how the money gets all divided up.
So let's break this down a little bit. You need people. See, because white people pay for intellectual rights. We're the only ones that don't pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
They pay for that. They're going to need money for the people who thought about that project. They're going to need money for the people who designed the project. They're going to need money for the people who construct the project. They're going to need money for the people who are going to work there. And then they're all going to get paid because their garage is going to be full and every car in there is going to pay daily, weekly, monthly, and some of them will pay yearly because they can afford it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a money-making machine. One of the things that it does, and this is something we have to think about. And I'm just going to veer off just to make a point real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was an area in the North End behind Parker Memorial, one of the city recreation centers.
Mm-hmm.
It was the last open space in the North End. And the kids used to play there. It's right next to a park. It was open area. It was beautiful. They decided that they were going to put housing there. So now, they don't have an open space in the North End in that area where kids can play and there's green and whatever, right? So now we're going to imagine the amount of area that it requires to build a 900-car garage. Okay, so they're going to take that space and, maybe an open area. How many people are they going to displace? You know what I'm saying? These are all the things we have to look at. And so when people are thinking about money, they don't care about anything else but where's the profit? What's the profit margin? How much can we expect? And then they're going to add, every year, they're going to add a little bit because costs of construction go up every year. I don't know how that happens because if you make a deal for, let's say, to build this garage for $4 million, by the time they finish, the thing will be like 11 because cost of living and cost of construction and cost of materials go up. You know what I'm saying? So everybody gets paid, but the people who live in Hartford, we won't get paid for that. So please, to the citizens that are fighting the construction of this huge project, please know that you have my support. We don't want this 900-car garage, and we have to put a stop to this.
The beauty of the 900 cars, and as you talked about with the money making, because even if they say, well, we're not gonna charge people to park here. No. You may not charge them, but the cost of their parking is going to be paid for by someone. If it's the state of Connecticut, or add it to the bill.
They'll add it to the bill.
So, the parking is going to get paid for. Someone's going to make a whole lot of money.
And they won't pay a dime for it. They won't pay a dime. The people, the patients, and the citizens of Hartford will pay for it. And we have to stop that. We have to show these venture capitalists, because that's what they are, right? We have to show them that you can't run games in our community, and we have the power. Now, I have led a couple demonstrations in the past that have been extremely successful in stopping these tyrants from doing whatever they want. And I'll be happy to share information with anyone who reaches out to me. And I would love to participate in any kind of protest or, any pushback that you have. Please get a hold of me. We love to do that. And I'm sure that on the day of the protest, we can probably get our brother Stan McCauley to come out there and stand with us or film it or something. So we have, we have a lot of resources at our disposal.
Right. I'll come out. I stood in front of MDC protesting when I was running for mayor one year.
But NDC wants to sell our water to somebody else.
You're talking about the bottled water.
Yeah, the bottled water.
It's good enough to sell to someone else. We have some of the best water in the world.
But here's the thing, though, Stan. Water is it's a natural
It's a natural resource that shouldn't be profited off of. No one should own the water.
And here's the other thing: the people who are bottling that water, you should be bottling that water and giving it to humans for free. Okay, that's what you do with that water. You give it for free because it's ours. How you gonna take my water and sell it back to me? There's a story I want to tell you about one of my great uncles. I had my grandfather was known to be like one of the hardest workers ever. There was very few men that could stand next to him and say that, I could stand next to him. So one of them was his wife's brother. She had a couple brothers. One of them, his name was Juan. My grandfather's name was Cirilo. So my uncle, my grandfather's son, tells me that my grandfather was a legend, but this guy, his brother-in-law, was the only man that he ever seen who could meet and even surpass the ferocity and intensity that my grandfather worked with. And I said, yeah, that's incredible, man. I love hearing this stuff. He said, but he had a brother who, as strong and as powerful and as magnificent as this guy was, his brother was the complete opposite. He was the laziest man that a mother gave birth to. And I said, well, what do you mean, man? He said he never worked a day in his life. And anybody in the family will tell you that. He said, but the guy has some stuff with him, man. He said he was the guy that would steal a neighbor's chicken in the morning and go back in the afternoon and sell him the same chicken. So, people do what they do, man.
Some slickness
is out there, man.
That's funny.
So that's Luke's legacy. So he left us now. He left us another completely disassembled and dysfunctional civilian review board. They can't do nothing. The dude just quit. Right? Remember, they hired that dude. He just quit. And now they don't have quorum.
No, he's running for mayor.
The new, what's his name?
Yeah, Liam Brennan.
He's running for mayor.
He is a candidate for mayor in New Haven.
Well, listen to me, Liam. I hope you're watching. The fact that you show cowardice and you quit on us is not a good look for you in New Haven, because people gonna know about that. I'm just letting you know ahead of time. All right, we don't trust people like you, brother. We don't trust quitters, man.
Yeah, you gotta hang in there all the way to the end. So let's take a short break. We'll be back. We're doing extended hours here today. So fair to say that I since we've done the
line Luke's legacy.
It would be fair to say that I won't be getting his endorsement.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Well, that's true. I don't know that. I don't.
If Luke loves this city and he loves the citizens, see, because we put people to the test all the time. He made all these claims. I love this city. I'm never gonna leave. Blah 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 blah. He lied. That's why I call him Lying Luke. That's why he can't say nothing, because he lied. Right. So now, if he really does love this city, then he will support the most viable, the most reasonable, the better prepared, the most qualified mayoral candidate we had, I would say, in the last 50 years.
Wow, that's pretty. But that says a lot. I'm humbled by that.
Well, Stan, I just want you to, if you think, or if you or anybody thinks I'm blowing smoke, I want them to call in or write in, or you can speak about who you think was better prepared and more qualified to lead our city than you.
All right. Well, we'll take a short break. We will be right back. It's Morning Talk, and watch this. This here's a pretty interesting little piece. Check this out.
You know something? Hartford's strength is the people. They're independent thinkers and love their city. So how did Hartford fall into the hands of rogue policymakers? Well, to start, this rogue group spent nearly $1 million putting themselves on the inside and leaving you out in the cold. What if I told you that $5 can be the difference between a Hartford with hope and vision or a Hartford that is in perpetual decline, increasing crime, and an educational system going nowhere fast? Your $5 contribution to our team is a statement that you are investing in Hartford's future. Your $5 contribution to McCauley for mayor will make you a member of the team, and together we will explore the possibilities. More than that, you will be demonstrating that Hartford's people are ready to make a stand with Stan. Our goal is to get the support of 5,000 people who live, work, and play in Hartford. I'm asking you to make a bold statement by contributing $5 right now, today. If you believe in Hartford and its people like I do, make that contribution. And together we will show Connecticut that the people of Hartford care enough to do our part. We are ready to pick up the ball and run. The people of Hartford are back in the game, and we're in it to win. My name is J. Sam McCauley, and I approve this message.
Hi,
My name's J. Stan McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and
Well,
you're watching AccessTV.org.
All right, welcome back. Having more fun than people should be allowed to have on television. Kasike's in the house.
Stan, man, what an incredible show we've had today. I can't believe we've been on the air for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it looks like our time might be coming to an end.
Yeah.
And real quick, I just want to mention Brother Chris Dukes.
Oh, man.
His stuff is going on in court. He's had a couple victories, and hopefully we're going to see some things tumble, some systems, and some processes that have been very damaging to, all citizens, but particularly black and brown folk. So I'm happy about that. And I still think that if the feds, but they can't really do too much because they probably in it too, but they can probably do some RICO on Chris because it's all government related. That could be a RICO case. But they won't do that because it'll be criminalizing themselves.
Right.
And they'll look bad. But when there's a group of people committing crimes and earning, that's racketeering. And that's what's happening. Government agencies are committing and hiding crimes that they commit.
Conspiring.
And they're conspiring. That's also conspiracy. So we have to look at that. We need people like that sister in New York who had the courage to attempt to bring Donald Trump to court. I applaud her for that. Boy, they got... And in my island of Borinquen, the island that the white people call Puerto Rico, right? We have a saying: "El que hizo la ley hizo la trampa. And the one who invented the law or created the law also created the trap for it. So we talk about language. I have to say this. Black and brown folk had nothing to do with the creation of the English language. And no matter how proficient we think we are, we will never be as proficient and have the consciousness of the language that the people who created do. I'll use an example. I have been in a room with black and brown folk and white folk, and a white person who's presenting will make a statement, and all the white people can relate to it. And when I look around the room, I can see that black and brown folk can see that white people can relate to it, but they can't, and they don't understand why. Because we had nothing to do with the creation of the language. So it's different.
All right. Any last shout outs?
Oh, absolutely, man. I want to shout you out first, man, for having the courage and the integrity to do the right thing. Right? This is a Spike Lee moment right now. Do the right thing, Stan. Run for mayor, and you did, brother. So I congratulate you, and I exalt you for your courage, brother.
Yeah, Luke, Kasike had a lot to do with this. I tell you all right now, he hooked me up big time with some hypocrisy. So, you know.
Now, well, brother, I don't look at it like that, man. I just look at it as I share an observation with you, and you were able to see things a little more clearly, and it compelled you to do the right thing, and that's how we got here. Because great men, Stan, like you, do the right thing all the time, and I appreciate that. The community appreciates that, and we thank you. And I want to shout out Brother Lou Brown. I want to shout out Brother Chris Dukes. I want to shout out Brother Eugenio Caro. Leader, what's happening, brother? And I want to shout out a couple people who passed. Sister Gloria Herena, who was a magnificent leader. And I'm forgetting his name now. Brother who passed recently, man. He was in Texas. But anyway, blessings to everyone. Have a great week. And I hope that all your dreams come true. And don't forget, Stan McCauley for mayor 2023. Let's get it, family. Let's go. All right. Thank you, Stan.
All right. Well, all I really need is Kasike in the house, and we'll be good to go. You all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you here next time. All right. Ciao, ciao.
Hey, Hartford, Connecticut, I'm talking to you. We gotta get out and vote. Vote for Stan McCauley. It's our time. We gotta rise up and take it back. Vote for Stan McCauley.
Vote for Stan. You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah.
It's more than politics than just what your social covers. And it ain't somewhere written down in bold letters. Don't just take my word for it, do your research. Think of your future, look at your bigger picture. Shooting tie, clean up, unity for the righteous. Plotting on action, hands on access. With a light source vision, door to door knocking. Guerrilla style marketing, brainstorm as a collective. Real neighborhood suggestions. Only we know what it is where we living. To make real life decisions. Move on facts, make it manifest back.
You gotta vote for Stan McCauley. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Vote for Stan. Oh yeah. Look at your city. Stop. Take a look around. Is opportunity flow into your house? Are you working? Wait, can you save some money? And is your neighborhood safe? Or is it a homicide every night?
Senior. Many of you may know me as the two-time welterweight champion of the world. I'm here to tell you that Democrat J. Stan McCauley, as our next mayor, will fight for you until the last bell. Help me throw a knockout punch. Go out and vote for Stan the man.
My name is J. Stan McCauley, and I approve this message.